Good evening. Um, Apparently, I have the prestigious honor of going first, which I had no idea. But we're going to make this work. So, good evening again. My name is Gunther Perkins. I am the October Senior of the Month from Windsor High School. The influencer I chose to honor tonight is Mrs. Beatty Riffle. As she said, she cannot be here tonight. But don't worry, you still get to hear me talk. So everyone wins. So she runs the theater department currently at Windsor, also VHSL competition theater team and the forensics team. I have been a part of Windsor's productions of High School Musical, Hairspray, and Beauty and the Beast throughout the last 3 years at Windsor. I have also been a part of the forensics team this past winter, and I was a part of a comedic duo. Me and my partner, we were able to finish first at regional, first at super regional, and second at state, which was a great thing to be a part of, and it was very, very enjoyable. Yet to me, she has always been much, much more than a teacher or a forensics coach. She has been a fantastic mentor and has given me incredible guidance throughout my journey of high school. The theater is truly one of the few places in high school that really allows people to express themselves freely in an environment that is not threatening to their self-confidence. Ideally, it would be a judgment-free zone where one's character and worth is always determined by their commitment, hard work, and effort given in the interest of the entire group. At Windsor, Mrs. Beatty has always been able to perpetuate this seemingly utopian principle every single day in the theater, which is just incredible. This was crucial to me because before theater, I had an innate difficulty communicating a cogent statement to an audience. The undemanding nature of theater enabled me to focus on my verbal articulation and improve upon it. This assimilation period lasted for about 2 years, after which my level of comfort was high enough that Mrs. Beatty was able to encourage me to join the forensics team, which is much, much more independent than theater. Theater, you have a whole team. You have an entire group of people who are on stage at one time. Forensics, you're just kind of thrown out into the middle of everything. Even if you're a duo, it can be very, very difficult. But I was able to form a chemistry with my partner, and we were able to really play off of each other, and that was one of the best things as a forensics person. It's so important and so great to be able to play off of your partner's every move. And yet, at this juncture, I somehow still find myself in a bit of a stupor and am at a loss for words when contemplating on how to describe just how much Mrs. Beatty has done for me. Firstly, she helped me to find my passion, which is the world of acting. It's one of the few things that really brings me joy. Secondly, she honed my initially raw leadership skills, and I evolved from being a silent, self-reserved person into a silent, self-reserved person who also is in plays. I also was able to assist in directing the shows, and I undertook a few lead roles, which I enjoyed very much. I never imagined that I'd be willing to, much less be thrilled to portray the characters of Gaston, Cogsworth, and the Beast most recently. Specifically, I recall a talk that I had with her after Hairspray in junior year when she said that we were going to do Beauty and the Beast for my senior year and that she would like to see me audition for Gaston, and it was likely the best decision I ever made to be able to do that. I also connected with many great people and had experiences in that class that I will carry with me and cherish for the rest of my life. The lessons that Mrs. Beatty and theater taught me have helped prepare me for life after high school, and that's all that really any of us can ask of our teachers. So I'd like to take this time to humbly thank Mrs. Beatty for all her kindnesses and assistance to me throughout my high school career. Thank you.
Since I've never had to give a speech before, I have no idea what I'm doing or where to start. So, I guess I'll start with telling you all about the amazing things about one of my biggest supporters, Miss Ng. About a year ago, I became Beta Club president, which then in turn forced me to work very closely with Miss Ng during my summer and my senior year. And it didn't take long for me to realize just how special and caring and kind and compassionate Miss Ng is. And extremely humble at that. She actually won IWCS Teacher of the Year, so shout out to her for that, yeah. Anyway, Miss Ng greets all walks of life with a beaming smile and truly cares about each person she meets. With her help, our club has been able to collect food for the hungry, collect supplies for hurricane victims, perform countless other deeds for people in our community. I believe that one of the greatest measures of a person is how much they help others. And in that case, Miss Ng is one of the most warm-hearted people I know. There have been days, especially due to the much-dreaded senioritis, where I have thought, what is this all for? But with her help, it takes no time for me to remember that I'm graduating to go on to perform better things, do larger deeds for a larger community, and then one day our country. And although Miss Ng and I have only known each other for about a year, I can definitely say that she has inspired me and pushed me farther than any other teacher I know. From last-minute college recommendations or to giving me lunch money when I forget to refill my account, she is always willing to give an arm and a leg to any of her students. Although not in her job description, she constantly goes the extra mile to explore new avenues to make her class more fun and interactive. Her passion for teaching keeps students engaged, and when she fails, she's always equipped with a lighthearted joke to get everyone refocused. And don't even get me started about when birthdays come around. Miss Ng wakes up early enough to stop by the donut shop and get everyone a donut in the class for the newly celebrated adult in the room for their birthday. But in all seriousness, Miss Ng will always have the best advice around. And although majority of it contains cheesy things like follow your heart and chase your dreams, there are little specks of true wisdom throughout our time together that have really stuck with me. And side note, Miss Ng possesses a keen sense of sarcasm that just really matches with me. And I think that's why we get along so well. I'm not sure. But to conclude the speech, I'd like to thank Ms. Ng for being an incredible support system throughout my stressful senior year and helping me through every bump along my journey. I want to thank you specifically for listening to me complain about the little things, even when you really didn't want to. But most of all, thank you for believing in me and my future. Thank you.
Hi. Fair warning, I probably will cry, and so will she, but it's okay. So this evening, I'd like to honor an amazing, smart, kind, and strong, wholehearted woman, Miss Halstead. Miss Halstead is an extraordinary woman who will always put others before herself. She came to Windsor my freshman year and was also the head JV volleyball coach, and later moved to varsity head coach my sophomore year. The summer before freshman year was the first time we met. I had just came back from vacation, and we were doing volleyball tryouts. And the first day, she had me do all these things, and I did them. And then afterwards, she came up to me, and she was like, she looked me right in the eyes, and she said, well, quite frankly, your hits scare me a little, but I'd love to have you on my team. And from then on, our relationship grew. That was actually the first time we infectiously laughed together, and we continue to do that every day. She's not only a teacher and a coach, but she's my mentor. She's someone that I felt that I could always confide in, and she's my go-to person. Sorry. Whenever I need someone to talk to, I would show up at her classroom door, and she would welcome me with open arms and tell me, of course, and come in and talk to her. She would even keep her students out in the hallway so they wouldn't interrupt us. Just in between bells, not during classroom. There was a few times I was crying, and she opened me up, and she was like, she just gave me a big hug, and she told me not to worry about the team drama. It was girls, and that I would be going on to do better things, playing my game, and continuing to just be the person that I am, and that it would all be okay. Throughout the past 4 years, I have learned so much from Ms. Halstead. She was a mentor and someone whose actions I could look up to. Through high school and later in life, I know that she's always someone that I can look up to and ask her or text her anytime during the day and ask her a question, whether it's about school or just about life lessons. I know that she'll be there for me. She became my school mom. Whenever I needed her, she was there. Her classroom is a safe space, not only for me, but for many other students, and I know that multiple people feel the same way. She's welcome, from her welcoming attitude and her fun-loving spirits, her class is a place that people want to be. It's not one of those classes that people dread going into, like, oh, gotta go to pre-calculus again. It's, okay, we're going to history, it's gonna be fun, we're gonna learn something new. The gratitude and respect I have for her is overwhelming. Her job is not easy, dealing with high schoolers and then all day, and then she comes to 2-hour practices, and she's really a trooper dealing with all of our stuff, I can tell you that. I know it must be stressful, but every day you come in smiling, and I know that you truly love it, and it's something that you want to do. Ms. Halstead led our volleyball team to many victories, along with beating our rival, Southampton. Woo! Her bright and energetic personality was the center of our team and of her classroom. I just wanted to thank you for being the guiding light when I needed you, and thank you for truly caring about my success in life. You have made a significant impact on my life, and I will never be able to truly express how much you mean to me. Thank you. Yes, please.
Hello, my name is Matthew Lutz, and I'm honoring Miss Greer because very similar to that C-Star story, she made an impact on other people as well. And I just want to start out, I wouldn't be going to Massachusetts Maritime Academy if it wasn't for her, because she really introduced me into like the benefits of taking the engineering route. And I just want to say that she's made a huge impact because, I mean, as you've heard, she's in Houston right now for a national competition, and she also went last year, which is a pretty big deal in my books, at least. But I mean, I don't really have a speech to go through, but I'm just here to tell you that she's made a huge impact on not only me, but she's also impacted all my other classmates. I mean, this year's the first year they've opened up the CTE building, and she's taken full advantage of that. Not only is there the national wind competition, but there's also competitions at Longwood that she's sending students to for solar. And I'm just going to end off a funny thing that happened the other day was she heard that I had chosen her for the senior of the month sponsor. And she came up to me and was like, "Did you really choose me? Like, out of all people?" I was like, "Yeah." It was like, "You send teams to nationals 2 years in a row. I mean, that's a pretty big thing." And she's like, "Yeah, but I haven't really provided much for the school." And I looked at her and I was like, you sent teams to the national competition 2 years in a row. And you've been here 2 years. That's a pretty big deal, Miss Greer. And then after that, I told her, or not after that, but she looked at me and she was like, yeah, but I mean, the CTE building's a work in progress. And I told her Rome wasn't built overnight. And that's all.
Good morning. My name is Colonel Higgins, as you guys know by now. I would like to thank you for allowing me to speak amongst you all. I would first like to congratulate the other seniors for their accomplishments, work ethic, and determination. Let me move this down so. Work ethic and determination to be greater members of society. In less than a couple weeks from now, we'll be together again on a much different stage, celebrating a much different cause, graduation. I'm gonna save that speech for another time because this moment is about celebrating our endless drives to reach success and the teachers, advisors, or people that stood behind us and kept our back straight. Those who motivated and supported us from day one, but also kept us in check and reminded us where the ground was when we felt like we were on top of the world. And I know he's waiting for me to say his name, so let me be petty and wait 2 more seconds. My driving force, who I met in the walls of Smithfield High School, was Mr. Matthew Moore. Moore is a few things. He is not a few things. A teacher and life coach, he is. A yes man, he is not. A master marketer and genius fundraiser, he is. All over the place and constantly on the move, forgetting things here and there, he definitely is that. But more simply put, the most energized, supporting, bona fide, and truly good-natured teacher, coach, advisor, AD, and human being that has come across my path in Smithfield High School. See, only few know the true history of the many ups and downs, mostly ups, of Moore and I's relationship. He told a certain story when he opened for me in this very building at my first public speaking engagement at the Martin Luther King Jr. 19th Annual Commemorative Banquet. I was appointed by Ms. Valerie Butter, she's in the crowd right here, the Isle of Wight and AACP president, and she asked me to speak at this engagement. So I'm gonna give my short version of the story, of the same story he told on this stage here. It was the first day of my sophomore year, and I won't lie, I was expecting to stroll into another class, some class called sports marketing, and collect my ECA. After all, it was my second year of high school, so I knew what I was doing, right? I had it all figured out. Now, I'm not gonna say, not gonna go day by day, but let's just say hanging out with my friends obtained, and this is where you're supposed to gasp, I obtained my first C, and first and last C, on a school project by Mr. Moore. And I decided right after receiving this grade to lock in, as we kids say, and I made friends with those who knew when it was time to focus and get to work, and I made sure that I never received anything less than a 89. You can check me on that later. I realized that high school and college would have one common denominator, and that is me, and that I was responsible for my own successes and my own failures. That small situation birthed a train of events in that class, and that added to my overall initiative and character. Not only sports marketing as a class and DECA as an organization, but more as a teacher has taught me how to carry myself around certain individuals and the etiquette to maintain in the business world. He is even the reason I will be going to the real HU, Howard University, and studying within the School of Business. And I'm going to obtain either an MBA or a business marketing degree, hopefully. Outside of that class, Moore and I's relationship has grown tremendously. He is one that I feel like I can truly tell anything, and one of the very few I would trust with my life and well-being if the situation called for it. I think I speak for all the students in here when I say we are forever grateful for the roles these teachers have played in our lives, and without them, our journey would not be the same. Personally, Moore has done an overwhelming long list of things for me. He afforded my first trip to Atlanta through DECA Nationals, along with another week trip that we just took to Orlando, Florida. He has inserted my names into the heads of people at the top and has done things that I'm probably not even aware of to this day. He did not write me a recommendation letter, but he did get me here on this stage with you all, so I can say that I truly love him for that, and that is not a word that I use loosely. With all that being said, Moores knows what's up with me and him, and that's exactly why he'll be at graduation cookout with me, along with the other people who have supported me since day one. I think I've done my best up here hyping his head and making sure that he knows I'm more than appreciative for his endless efforts in my 4 years of high school. Thank you guys once again for hearing me on such a wonderful day, and I would like to give a special thanks to my family for being here, central office for attending, each and every administrator for selecting me, and my sponsor and representative, Ms. Haney. Smithfield High has given me many opportunities and opened many doors for my near future. With these opportunities, I can only hope I have left a positive impact on you all and the entirety of this community. See you at graduation, and as Moore would say, keep playing the game. Thank you.
My name is Xavier Ricks. I am the Senior of the Month for Windsor High School for the month of January, and today I'm honoring Mr. Tyler Mosley. During my sophomore year, I constantly saw this man monitoring during my lunch period, and I didn't know his name, but I heard he had been hired as a new varsity football head coach. Then, like any other curious individual would, I did my research and saw his outstanding track record as a coach and a teacher. Just about every day for three weeks or more, he would pull me to the side as my lunch period ended and tried his best to recruit me to play ball. Once I finally made the decision to play, I finally got an in-depth look into who he is, and observing his great characteristics and leadership is what has changed my life. While training with Coach Mosley, I started to see a change in myself, and not just physically. Even though I started to become stronger, as well as being known as X, the guy who can deadlift 500 pounds. All of that is well and good, but Coach Mosley groomed me to start taking the role of a leader and be less of an introvert. He once said, "Hey, Ricks, I need you to be less quiet and more of a leader out there." Coach M has put upon my shoulders the responsibility of making sure that the whole track team is stretched and ready before practice. Coach always says what you put in is what you get out. If you put garbage in, then that's what will come out. Just recently, Coach spent the majority of track practice working with me on my fundamental technique for shot put so I can qualify for regionals and states. And I just would like to say that tomorrow I have the opportunity to do that. He constantly reminds us of the importance of staying focused and having a winner's mentality. Sometimes he may get at you, but it's because he wants to see you become successful. I've seen him battle sickness and miss out on doctor's appointments just to make sure that all the young men on the team are maximizing their potential. He always emphatically emphasizes the importance of winning the day, battling through adversity and doing everything you have, giving it all you got just to push through. He also always says the first step is to show up and always grind and get better. And as I stand before you today, I cannot guarantee that I would be the athlete, the honor student, and the person that I am without Tyler Mosley. So I want to say thank you, Coach, for all that you do, and if it wasn't for you, I would not be the man I am today. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. Thank you. Sorry. It gets me a little more calm. Whew, my heart rate is quite up there right now, but it's fine. Once I get into this, it's fine. I got it. Keep calm. So, my name is Ryan Willis. I was the Senior of the Month for January, and this man right here is the one who selected me. So, yeah, so here we go. You know, it's crazy to me how fast 4 years can fly by. Within a blink of an eye, so many new friends, good and bad experiences, and ultimately new life adventures have passed upon the time. First day of school, freshman year, seems like it was only yesterday, but thank goodness it wasn't, because I don't think my brain could handle this anymore. Throughout the past 4 years, I've made some incredible, unbreakable bonds, which will last with me forever. With that being said, I want to again recognize the individual who has been there for me through it all, my leader, my mentor, my teacher, Lieutenant Colonel Peter Bedoyan. There we go. He deserves that, so that's right. Sorry. Colonel, for a busy man like yourself, I don't know if you've noticed, but we've been a lot through together. From talking our way through serious problems all the way from finishing big projects last minute, like preparation for the drill meets, grand opening ceremonies, battalion bash, I know we've given you like a heart attack a lot of times, but it's all worked out. I admire every single one of your qualities you possess, every quality a young, developing high school teenager needs to experience in order to succeed in life. I would like to identify a few out of many qualities you obtain. First, compassionate. Since day one, you have always coped with my personal problems and kept my head high even when I couldn't myself. Second, ambitious. It has always pushed me to succeed when I saw no hope within arm's reach. Humorous, even in the toughest times, you will always find a sense of humor to brighten everyone's moods, basically showing the light in the darkest moments to keep us motivated, which has been most of this year. Dedicated, has the passion to keep not only myself, but all of the other students in the class on task to prepare us for our futures. And one of the most important ones, patient. Yes. So we're all human, and as a high schooler, you can already guess where this one is along the lines of a lot of teachers need patience. So as time moves forward, I can gladly say that you have deeply impacted my life in so many great ways. Even though I can be a little slow and clueless sometimes, such as showing me where to sign thank you letters. I know I've asked you that 100 times. Yeah, it's true. You always seem to cooperate with me in order to succeed, and I can't thank you enough. Through taking your class all 8 semesters of high school, I'm excited to see what your impact on me has set up for my future. As I further my educational career in Alabama for the next year before I go off and hopefully attend the Naval Academy. Sorry, go Navy, be Army. You didn't hear that. All right. There will always be a trace of the old man himself inside my heart. Again, I cannot thank you enough for everything you've done for me and the impact you've had on my life. Although it's very sad to be letting go of a routine I followed every day since preschool, I've learned that time flies by very fast, not only in school, but with the thing called life. Scary, very scary. With that being said, here's a little quote that I found to end off my speech. Life is short, smile while you still have teeth. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Lita Sanders, and I was named Senior of the Month for the month of February for Windsor High School. And tonight is not about my accomplishments. Okay. Tonight is not about myself or my accomplishments, but rather the people that helped me to get to where I am today. Now, I've had many family, friends, teachers, and staff that has helped me become the person I am today. Now, as you can tell, it's kind of hard to pick just one educator in your life out of all 4 years of high school and all the other years of school. So when I got down to my final couple, I knew who I had to do. I've known Mr. Smith for 7 long years, and he started out as just my band director, because saxophone is the best instrument, sorry, and then evolved into my band director for the marching band. So at the beginning of the year in 6th grade, I was actually sent out of the room for laughing at my friend's hair because it wouldn't stay down. And he sent me out of the room and told me that I needed to start paying attention in class. And then next year at a concert, I lost my mouthpiece for my saxophone, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I looked everywhere in my case, and I just couldn't find it. Luckily, the same friend that had the hair trouble had an extra one. So when I put the mouthpiece on, it wouldn't play right. So of course, if something's wrong with your instrument, you go to Mr. Smith. So I did, and he took the whole neck piece off, and there was my mouthpiece lodged into my saxophone. Luckily, we could find a clothes hanger to pop it right out. So I have very bad luck when it comes to concerts. My last concert, actually, my saxophone just wouldn't play. And I had 3 solos, and I was looking up at Mr. Smith, about to cry, because I was so upset that I couldn't play any of them. And he was laughing, just laughing. So it made me feel a lot better about not being able to play, and made me laugh as well. So my 8th grade year going in, Mr. Smith took on both middle school and high school band, chorus, guitar, and then evolved into the marching band as well. I cannot tell you how many hours this man has put into the music program at the middle school and high school. It's phenomenal what he does, and he truly does inspire me to be the person I am and to continue on my education and to help people today. Now, one thing that Mr. Smith says that will always stick with me, other than one more again, is a concert is only a snapshot of the performance. The audience and the judges do not know how good you actually are. They can only judge on what they see. Now, this has stuck with me, and I will continue to reflect on this because you can use it on almost anything. Like, even now, you are judging me just based on this speech, and you don't know the countless hours that it took for me to even write this or even think to where to begin. My sophomore year, at the end of it, I found out that I was going to be the next drum major of the Windsor High School Marching Band. And as I realized this, and being named Senior of the Month and having to write a speech about Mr. Smith, I realized he was the first person that ever gave me a leadership role like this. And through this, I was brought out my leadership abilities and was able to really tone in on them, and I was good at it. And that's what helped me to become the president of our beta club, as well as the head student ambassador for our expo, Ms. Ferguson over there. I'm able to do these things because of you, Mr. Smith, and I thank you so much, and I will forever be grateful, and I am inspired by your love for art and music and your never-ending determination. Thank you, Mr. Smith, and good luck with Arabe in charge of the band next year.
Good evening. My name is Jocelyn Napier, and as you heard before, I will be attending the real HU. William Arthur Ward once said, "The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, and the great teacher inspires." Mr. Joel Joyner has inspired and made a huge impact on my life, not only in school, but outside of school. When I first joined the band, Mr. Joyner welcomed me with open arms. He'd seen something bigger that I didn't see in myself. I remember my freshman year, my second day of band camp, the drum line was in the auditorium, and we were playing a cadence called SHS. I was standing to the side by myself and was watching the upperclassmen play. Mr. Joyner stopped them from playing and put me on the drum. He started the cadence over and gave me the opportunity to play. Of course, I was shy and nervous, but Mr. Joyner told me, "I believe in you. Show these upperclassmen what you got." As the years went on, Mr. Joyner and I became closer and grew a bond. He showed a great deal of confidence in me. Mr. Joyner is a true definition of a leader. He has taught me how to be a great leader and to be able to stand up for what's right. He bettered my skills as a percussionist and always put me on the spot to take solos even when I was nervous. We both can agree that I have grown and have gotten better on all instruments. We can also agree that I have come out of my shell and begun to play out more. Once I get out in the real world, I can always think back to all the leadership skills he has taught me and use them. On top of that, he made me a leader the last 2 years of my high school career. Being a leader in the band wasn't easy, but it was something I never experienced before, and I enjoyed it. For every jazz band gig, he will always say, "She's cool because she's short like me, and short people are cool." On top of everything, Mr. Joyner may be small, but he has a huge heart. He runs a band where he considers everybody family and takes care of us like we are his own. While taking care of his school kids, he takes care of his loving wife who is always there supporting him. And he still makes time to go visit his children out of state. Whenever I was having a bad day, Mr. Joyner was the first one to know it was something wrong. We would sit in his office and he would say to me, "What's wrong? You know you could tell me anything. I won't say nothing nor judge you." We would sit in his office the whole block and have deep talks. We laughed, cried, and even disagreed in his office. Every time we talked, Mr. Joyner always dropped a little bit of knowledge while we would have conversations. Those are moments I cherish the most. We may have had some disagreements, but at the end of the day, we were still tight, and I was still his girl, as Mr. Joyner would say. I consider Mr. Joyner an anchor. Last year, Mr. Joyner went through a very hard phase in his life. His mother was passing away. Mr. Joyner would travel to and from to take care of his mother, but he still maintained to keep the band together. I always thought to myself, how does he do it? That was a really strong man. When he was away, he would still hold us down and still lead us no matter what was going on in his head. I will never forget the good times and the bad times we've had. In his job description, it just says to teach students and the theory behind it. But Mr. Joyner put a twist to it and did more than just teach us music and theory. He taught me how to love the music. Mr. Joyner, I just want to thank you for the things you didn't have to do, but you did. Thank you for always being there. Thank you for loaning that ear to listen to me. Thank you for giving me your lunch if I didn't have any. Thank you for pushing me even when I wanted to give up. Thank you for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. Thank you for showing me different things and exposing me to different opportunities. Thank you for all the tight hugs when me and you both needed them. Thank you for all the laughs, jokes, and tears. Thank you for taking care of me like your own. Thank you for always dropping that knowledge. Thank you for always supporting me. As I move on to bigger endeavors, I can say that Mr. Joyner plays a part on how I represent myself, not only as a young lady, but as a musician. Even though we may not be physically together every day once I graduate, you will always be with me in spirit. You will forever have a place in my heart. And because of you, within 5 years, my new name will be Boss.
Good evening. My name is Avery Williams, and I wanted to first give honor to God, who is the head of my life. I honor the members of Wight County School Board, Chairman Ms. Hewlett, Vice Chairman Ms. Carr, Ms. Cook, Ms. Perkins, Mr. Wilson. I honor Superintendent Dr. Thornton. I honor Principal Ms. Sullivan and Assistant Principal Ms. Carroll. Greetings to faculty, staff, administrators, parents. It gives me great pleasure to recognize this individual on this evening who has greatly impacted my life. Her positivity, empathy, and respect for others make it impossible to overlook her. It all started when I was in 2nd grade. My mom was pregnant with my little brother, and I needed someone to play in my mom's place in the Carsville annual mother-son kickball game. My future 5th grade teacher, Miss Sharon Harrell, stepped up and stood in for my mother. At that moment, she became more than a replacement, but an amazing, tough, loving mother to me. As I grew older, I became more appreciative of all the things she has done for me in my life. Mrs. Harrell taught me how to have a sense of humor and not to take things too serious in life. One of my favorite jokes we used to do is stuff confetti in cars so that when it was opened by an unsuspecting person, all the confetti would scatter everywhere. During Halloween, Mrs. Harrell would dress up as her favorite insect, a bumblebee, and would buzz around in the class and sting everyone. I also developed a deeper appreciation for history from her teachings. Mrs. Harrell brought history to life for us. We once reenacted the Boston Tea Party. I also remember dressing up to recite many great speeches like the Great Patrick Henry speech and the Gettysburg Address. Ms. Harrell's methods of actively involving us in our work made it easy and fun. Finally, Mrs. Harrell's love and compassion for her students, prosperity, and advancement helped me to appreciate and respect people more. Her love was a part of the foundation that molded me into the person I am today. She remains as one of the greatest teachers that have greatly impacted my life. Thank you, Mrs. Harrell, for all you've done for me in my life.
Well, I'd like to begin by thanking everyone who made this dinner possible. I think I speak for all of the seniors who were nominated by their respective teachers when I say that this means a lot to us, to validate our hard work and our dedication. So thank you for that. I'd also like to extend a special thank you to my parents who are here with us tonight, Barb and Holiday Hannah. Without them, I would not be standing at this podium. So thank you for everything. Nelson Mandela once observed that education is the most powerful tool we have to change the world. Now, this considered, we have to evaluate the role of the teacher, the one who forms the bridge between the student and the education they seek. With this in mind, I would classify Miss Janine Haley as a teacher of the highest order who has without a doubt impacted my education more profoundly than anyone else. I think the fact that more than one person, Mr. Petty and myself, I think the fact that more than one person is honoring her tonight speaks volumes about the powerful role she plays in the lives of her students. As with any exemplary teacher, Miss Haley's impression on my life is not based on any singular characteristic, but rather is the amalgamation of many traits. Despite having known her for 2 years, I continue to be awed and humbled by the strength of her character, the depth of her compassion, and the immeasurable power of her conviction. From my time as both her English student and yearbook editor, Miss Haley has profoundly influenced me not only as a teacher, but also as a role model and someone I would consider a friend. When recalling the countless lessons she has taught me over the years, I'm reminded immediately of the Socratic seminars we conducted for each of the books we read, where she would often join our group discussions and challenge us to both answer questions and ask thought-provoking ones of our own. Miss Haley cared not just about our ability to read and communicate, but also about our capacity to think, to really think about the world around us and what our role in that world might be as citizens of tomorrow. As Miss Haley's yearbook editor, she taught me a completely different, yet equally important set of lessons. I remember very distinctly what she told me when she first put me in charge of the yearbook staff. She said, "You're not just leading a class, you're running a $37,000 business." This past year, which I think we can both agree was, to put it lightly, a learning curve, Miss Haley has done more than just instruct me. She has trusted me. She impressed upon me the meaning of leadership by empowering me to lead others. She instilled in me the value of hard work by making me the architect of a project where my visions and ideas can be appreciated by the entire school community. Now, I've mentioned her impact on my academic experience, but I would be remiss if I neglected the immense personal impact she has had on my life. It is Miss Haley who is the first to greet me in the hallway every morning before class. It is Miss Haley who goes out of her way to comfort me and make me feel valued when I have a bad day. It is Miss Haley who will encourage me to read, relax, and do something fun in moments of exceptional stress, something I need to hear from time to time when I push myself too hard. These are not the actions of an ordinary teacher. They are the actions of someone who cares equally about the scholastic success and the emotional well-being of her students. Someone whose greatest source of validation is knowing that people like me feel prepared to face any challenge, both at college and beyond. Now, I could continue to talk about Miss Haley's innumerable positive traits and everything that makes her the exceptional woman who has earned my unequivocal admiration and respect. However, I am not the only person being honored tonight, so I'll end with this, and as Jocelyn so eloquently put it, a great teacher is one who inspires. However, Miss Haley goes beyond even this definition, because she does more than just inspire. She cares. For this reason, I can say without reservation that I would not be the person I am today without her, and she is someone with whom I plan to stay in touch for many years to come. Ms. Haley, thank you for everything.
Good evening. My name is Ashton Kaiser. For those of you who don't know me, I would like to give a little background about myself. I am the youngest in my family. The problem with being the youngest is that I've always felt like I was being compared to my brothers. One of them's right here today. And I have always lived in their shadows, and there were some big shadows to fill. Both were Windsor High School student government presidents and also served leadership roles in just about every activity they participated in. Being the third Kaiser to come through Carsville, Windsor Middle, and Windsor High School hasn't always been easy. I've always tried to do as well as them and live up to the expectations that many teachers had of me, but it has always been a constant struggle. I was diagnosed with ADHD in elementary school. Learning and concentrating is harder for me, but I've been very fortunate to have good teachers who are always willing to work with me. Midway through my sophomore year, my mom mentioned to me about taking cosmetology classes. She felt like it would be something I would enjoy, and taking a more interactive class would make it easier for me to stay focused. I wasn't sure about it at first, but before the end of the first semester, I had decided that I wanted to continue with the classes and work towards earning my degree. This is mainly because of Miss Danielle Gibson. Never before have I had a teacher who not only had to teach the class, but also set up the program for the first time. She has never let these challenges affect how she treats me or her students. Regardless of what's going on, I can guarantee that every morning when I walk into her classroom that I'm going to be greeted by her smile. Due to the time requirements of this program, I've spent more time these past 2 years with Miss Gibson than I have with my own family. This semester alone, the class has consisted of 4 blocks, and in the past I found myself daydreaming halfway through one block, but it's not like that with Miss Gibson. This year has been a challenge for me. I stopped taking my medication, and it isn't always easy for me to remember what I need to do. I'm sure it can get frustrating at times, but Miss Gibson has never made me feel bad about myself and continues to encourage me. I can tell that she wants me to be a success in whatever I do, not just in her class. I had a rough patch a few weeks ago in an online course, and Miss Gibson encouraged me to not only give up, but she also offered me help. I can never thank her enough for the time that she has spent with my classmates and I these past couple of months for helping us prepare for our state boards. Miss Gibson has also arranged for my class to attend the country's largest hair show in Florida, and we're leaving June 1st. She has her own family and still manages to take the time after school to offer tutoring for her students. There have been several occasions where I have been practicing skills at home, and when I couldn't remember the steps, Miss Gibson was only a phone call away. She has truly been there for me every step of my cosmetology journey. I can't imagine my senior year without Miss Gibson in it. Deciding to take cosmetology has been the best decision I've ever made. Sorry. Thank you, Miss Gibson, for being a shoulder to cry on, a sympathetic ear, and an overall compassionate teacher. Oh, and because of her, I am now a newly licensed cosmetologist. Thank you.
Before I begin, shout out to Jocelyn for attending the real HU, unlike Josh. But good evening. Before I begin, I need everyone to do me a favor. Just get your mama on the phone. Is that right, First Sergeant? Y'all will understand that once I finish my speech. I can't believe 4 years are going by that fast. I interacted with so many people when I came into high school. Now I barely even speak to some of those people in the hallways, all for different reasons, of course. Out of all the people who my relationships changed with through my high school career, there's still this one person who I've always had a pretty solid relationship with. My mentor, my teacher, and my leader, First Sergeant Marvin Hunter. I remember my very first day of high school, me being this scared little freshman. I wasn't really sure why I took ROTC. I just knew I wanted to do something different. Going in, I had lots of questions and felt very uneasy about things. That was when I was assigned my instructor, First Sergeant Hunter. He explained things that made me feel very welcome. I then thought, this is like the coolest teacher ever. Although my first thoughts were, oh, he's going to be so mean. He's a male teacher. They're always mean. But fortunately enough, my mind completely changed in no time. First Sergeant Hunter started helping me understand JRTC a lot better, and I became interested into a military career. He was my teacher, but he also became my mentor with getting my future in order. First Sergeant has been there moments I've had very bad days at school when I thought I couldn't talk to anybody. He would always make sure I was okay and help me make good decisions. When I say make sure I was okay, I mean he would come up with the corniest jokes to make me laugh and think they're so funny. So I had no choice but to laugh, because if I didn't, he would just say another corny joke and it'd just go on and on. If I was planning to do something mischievous, he would state, Miss Massenberg, I don't think you should do that. You can't be SOS. That means stuck on stupid if you let him tell it. He was there at times I forgot my breakfast in the morning or for just an afternoon snack. He was there when I was making my college decisions. He has been almost like my school dad, like my father figure while I'm away at school. There's never a day he wouldn't uplift me and help me forget about my stressful senior year. Senioritis kicked in pretty fast for me, by the way. He would always ensure I was tracking on due dates for scholarships and college deadlines. He would always encourage us to use OPM, other people's money. I remember one day I walked in on First Sergeant dealing with another student. I then heard him say, "You know what? Just get your mama on the phone. Just get your mama on the phone." I had to walk away just to laugh for a few minutes. From that day forward, every time somebody acts out in class, First Sergeant just says, "Just go get your mama on the phone." That's one memory I will never forget about First Sergeant. But one thing kids don't understand is that he's actually doing us a favor. He doesn't have to give us a chance to just call our parent. He could just refer us straight to the office. And that's one thing I admire about First Sergeant. He's known for giving second chances. He believes in each and every one of his students and believes that they have the ability to do what's right. But honestly, these last 4 years wouldn't have been the same without you pushing me along the way and making sure my head was on straight for Sergeant Hunter. Thank you for all of your time and effort on helping me become the responsible young lady I am today. You made a difference over the past 4 years, and I will never forget your impact on my life. I will be taking all of your great qualities with me to the real HU.
Good evening. I was selected as the Senior of the Month for May at Windsor High School, and I have the privilege of honoring Miss Sherry Ashburn. Miss Ashburn is so much more than a coach. She is a second mom to so many at Windsor High School. She is always willing to help, and her door is always open to talk. In the guidance office, there's a joke that I've taken up permanent residency. Over the past 2 years, Coach Ashburn and I have become very close. She has been my sounding board when I needed to rant about the stress that comes with senior and junior year. Coach Ashburn made it very easy for Windsor to feel like a second home. My sophomore year of high school, towards the end, I interviewed for the student representative position, and when the letters came back, she was the first one to come and tell me, but we were laughing because I was scared to take the letter because I didn't want to read it, and she told me, "Sierra, don't be afraid, everything is not so serious." So then after calming me down, she finally got me to open the letter, and it was great news, of course. She was there when I first got my leadership role. My junior year of high school, I became the girls' basketball manager. This led to long bus rides with a lot of jokes and laughter. Also, this is when I started to come into the guidance office on a daily basis. I would always rant to her and tell her about how my day was going. She'll always give me advice about how to improve whatever situation I was going through that day. When I was bored, she would always find me something to do. Even when I was sitting at the tables just trying to have a good time with my friends. My junior year, she helped me explore many opportunities that would help me further my education. Coach Ashburn provided me with scholarship advice and college advice. This resulted in me being able to present a speech about a topic I was passionate about. I was able to place first in a local competition and third in a state competition overall. She provided me with this new opportunity that opened up doors for me with experience in my major. She pushed me to take every opportunity presented to me and not be afraid of this new chapter I'll be starting at Longwood University. Coach Ashburn, you pushed me to strive for better, and that if I work hard enough, opportunities would be endless. You helped to open up many doors for me, and I will always be thankful. I will truly miss all the laughs we have shared in the guidance office. Thank you for always being there through the ugly tears and throughout the drama. I feel very privileged. Privileged to be able to form such a close bond with you in such a short amount of time.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be bringing up the rear tonight. At the end of my speech, you don't have to clap because it was good, just clap because you get to go home. But let's get down to it. Thank you, Ms. Getz, for that wonderful introduction, just in case expectations weren't high enough already. Don't worry, I'm going to try to do my best to meet that expectation. I've heard that a good speech should be like a comet, bright, eye-opening, and over before you know it. I don't know how well I can do on that first two, but I'm going to try to hit the third. In all seriousness, expectations are what I want to focus on when I talk about Miss Haley. And that's because her class, like many things in life, was a roiling mass of colliding expectations. For instance, I'd been told to expect AP Arts and Crafts. She expected much, much more from us. In Miss Haley's class, we weren't just students. We were actively engaged in the teaching process. Through presentations, projects, and student-run events, we were given creative control over a significantly larger portion of the course than we probably deserved. It was a risky move, allowing her students to hold a mock criminal case with student jurors, attorneys, defendants, prosecutors, judges, the whole 9 yards. But the symbol it provided paid dividends. It let us know she trusted us. More than that, it personally connected us with the material. There was not a single person in that class who went through the year without discovering a new favorite book. And that's because Miss Haley brought literature off of the page and into our sphere of perception, relating it to real-world issues and individual hardships that we were familiar with. As my good friend Alex Hanna noted earlier, Miss Haley didn't want to teach us what to think. She wanted to teach us how to think. She wasn't there to force us down the path. She wound us up, in more ways than one sometimes, pointed us in the right direction, and let us decide how we got there. And another thing, on that trip, she was right there with us. I always tell Miss Haley's students this. Miss Haley is one of the only teachers who has as much fun as her class is having. She loves seeing the various solutions her students come up with when faced with a problem, and she wants you to be free to express your ideas as much as you do. I got the sense that she wasn't teaching us to prepare for an exam, but to share something that she was personally passionate about. As Smithfield High School's recently nominated Most Opinionated Teacher, Miss Haley would never shy away from giving her personal thoughts on the themes running through certain books, which took the class from an analysis of literature to a discussion of the ideals behind it. It was the closest I've come to that Dead Poets Society zeal for learning. In these discussions, she never spoke with the authority from on high that teachers rely on all too often. She engaged with us as equals, certain that she could learn something from everyone she met, but unshakable in her beliefs. It's that youthful spirit, that kinship with her students, that makes me proudly count myself, with Alex, as someone who not only looks up to Miss Haley, but sees her as a friend at Smithfield High School. Don't worry, I won't keep you all much longer, but I'd like to wrap up by stating that I will never forget the time I spent in Miss Haley's classroom. But she owes my future college professors an apology. She set them an impossibly high bar. Thank you.
Hi, yes. We're going to States. Yeah. But this is about Miss Scott. So, Miss Scott is so much more than just a teacher. When I was in 9th grade, I would go down her hall and always see her smiling at me and other students, which truly uplifted the day. I remember when I asked one of my upper classmates who she was, and they said back to me, "I can't believe you don't know who Miss Scott is." Little did I know that I was going to find out, and in doing so would shape me into the person I am today. In just 2 short years, Miss Scott has become the second mom to my second home at Windsor High School. She genuinely cares for me and all of her students and notices if there is something wrong. When I was acting a bit off one day, she discreetly called me back after class to ask what was wrong. I wanted to start bawling because she actually cared that I was feeling down and wanted to help. Not many teachers will take action when they see an upset student. Hold on. That's why I'm so grateful for her and what she's done for me. I will never forget the wisdom that she shared with me that day when I was down. She told me those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. I left that classroom with a positive attitude and advice that will never be forgotten. For this, I thank her. Miss Scott always takes pride in her students and holds them to a high personal standard. To say that she is a teacher is an understatement for all of the things that she has done. Her students are her babies and always will be. Even as I get older, it will always be an absolute honor to have the title. When the time is right, she teaches life lessons that can only be taught by her. Her life experiences that she has shared changed the way that I look at life. Thanks to Miss Scott, I stand up for what I believe in and have made small differences in the world that mean so much to me. There are so many things that only she can do, and I'm so grateful to have had her as a teacher for the past 2 years. Thank you, Miss Scott. You will forever be so much more than just a teacher to me.